Welcome back, everyone. I'm Sean Shaw, and this is Vanguards of Democracy. Today, we're joined by two spectacular guests. We are pre-recording this show, though, and it will be featured on YouTube. Unfortunately, because of that, you won't be able to call in to the studio today. We're going to have Camilla Brown, State Representative from Orlando. She will be sharing her experience in politics and discussing some of the more pressing issues before the Florida legislature today. But first, I'll be sitting down with Cedric Powell, a professional financial advisor and friend of the show, to learn more about what it takes to make the right moves towards long-lasting financial stability. Stay tuned. All right, we're here at our first segment with Cedric Powell. Cedric, thank you for joining us on the show today. Cedric is very well known in the Tampa area, not only for being a wonderful financial advisor, but just for doing so much in the community, and we're going to talk about some of that too. But Cedric, I want you to get into kind of your background, you know, where you were born, where you were raised, and what got you into the financial advising sphere.
Got it. Quickly, I was born in here in Tampa, grew up in Port Tampa, attended Robinson High School, where I was a star basketball player, actually the second leading scorer in the history of the school.
Oh, wow.
Introduced to
just a little something.
A little something. I was introduced to financial advising through my AAU basketball coach. And really not introduced, but was aware that it existed because he happened to be a financial advisor. So Larry Beavis was my AAU coach for 10 years. We had a very successful AAU basketball team that won lots of state titles. And 80% of our team received Division I basketball scholarships.
Oh, wow.
But growing up in the slums of Tampa, Larry Beavis had a nice house on Davis Island. And so I inquired with our coach in terms of what career he was in. And he mentioned financial advising, wealth management advising, and I interned for him when I was in college. The rest is history.
That's not bad. When did you graduate high school?
1998.
Okay, I graduated in 96, so I'm 2 years older than you. But we had we had two levels of AAU, right? I wasn't on the first one. That was the Vince Carter and those fellas. We were on the second tier.
Got it.
But I loved AAU basketball. Talk a little bit, if you can, about what exactly you do for your clients. What is it that you're advising them on?
My goal is to advise clients on every aspect of money, whether it's dealing with education for their kids, whether it's dealing with retirement, whether it's dealing with real estate, whether it's dealing with taxes. I want to be that pool of knowledge in every aspect of money or investing, any realm of that. I want to be the knowledge for them.
I'm going to ask some scenarios here, and so I want you to, if you can, because most people, I think, wrongly believe you need to be rich to have a financial advisor. I think you probably tell them if you want to get rich, you need a financial advisor, right? I'll give you that one for free. So if I've just graduated college,
right,
or I've just graduated grad school,
right,
what advice are you going to give to me to start out so that I can start making good decisions and be on the road to where I need to be?
One term I use with clients all the time is baby steps. Right. So start now, start small, make it easy. So a baby step is if I make $10 a month and my expenses are $5 a month, I got $5 for expenses. Of that other $5 I have, let me enjoy $1. Put $1 away for retirement, put $1 away for intermediate terms, and put $1 away for emergency expenses. So I talk about a lot of earmarking dollars for different aspects of life. And then also I'm preparing my clients that they're not going to see exactly what's around the corner. And it's all about positioning yourself for future opportunities.
Right. Now, if I am 30,
right,
and I'm going to ask you that same question, but now I have a little bit better job. I've probably, gotten some raises, but I probably now have kids.
Yep.
And I've been married a little while.
Yep.
Now, what are you telling me in terms of getting myself where I need to be?
Yeah, we're the first sit down is all about, hey, what are your goals are? Because my goal is to help you achieve your goals. Right. I'm only successful if you are successful. So we're gonna figure out what you got, right?
Right.
So if you're making X and your expenses are Y, hey, what's the difference? What's the disposable income? And literally from there, we make it easy. We just chop that up, that disposable, making sure you have some fun now, making sure we put some dollars away for education, make sure we put some dollars away for retirement, make sure we put away dollars for opportunities.
Right. Now, you said baby steps, and so I want to drill down on that. It's someone that does not think that they have any disposable income. Right. Someone that thinks, I don't have any extra money, so I don't need to talk to Cedric right now. I need to wait until I have some extra money. What are you saying to that person?
I think people don't realize how much I don't want to say wasting, but we're spending eating out lunch or buying Starbucks coffee. For example, if you want to put away $500 a month, right? That's only $16.50 a day. So most people can put away $16.50 a day. And by the way, if that individual is 30 years old, he puts away $16.50 a day. That's going to turn into about $700,000 at retirement if he invested in a mutual fund.
And I want to talk about that some because there is the immediate gratification. And then when I sat down and someone told me, if you do X,
right,
you will have $1 million at this point in time. And it doesn't seem like a lot of money. It's just compound interest and putting it away and all that stuff.
Right.
And regardless of really how the market does, if it goes bad or good. But if I talk about some of those numbers, and if I just put a little bit of money away, how that when I retire, I will be rich. Oh,
easy. So you pointed out a college graduate, right? If a college graduate puts away $10 a day, $300 a month, that'll turn into $1 million by the time he's 65.
That's
$10 a day.
Bingo.
$1 million at age 65.
And you got $10 a day.
You got $10 a day.
You got $10 a day. And to your point, I bet when people come in, you drill down into their budget and determine, like, you know, what you believe the disposable income is rather than what I tell you, right? Because like you said, if I eat Uber Eats all the time and I eat Starbucks all the time and I go out and I tell you I don't have any money, do you go into their budget and say,
Well, it's a little bit of that, but I understand momentum, right? What is momentum? Momentum is, hey, I got Sean investing, right? And he's put away money for 6 months and he's put away 20 grand. But the market is giving him $3 grand on that, and he looks at his account. He's got $23,000. He's motivated to put away a few extra dollars every paycheck or every month.
Right.
So as you see your account grow, it motivates you to invest more for the future.
You're right, because we all want more money. And we were talking about this last time. You get paid based on how well my money does. And
absolutely.
So we all have incentives to do well where this is concerned. If someone comes to one of your clients, if your client receives an investment opportunity from some college buddies or someone in the community, can they bring that to you and you evaluate that for them?
Absolutely. So that's part of my job or my value add is, hey, I am there to, one, help you ask a question you didn't ask your buddy about that investment opportunity and evaluate it, right? And then also a lot of times I am positioning my clients' investment portfolio where they have opportunity dollars for that very investment. Mm-hmm. So my goal is to kind of see around the corner or to position yourself to take advantage of future opportunities that are currently present.
And I'm going out of order a little bit, but I've thought of it because I'm thinking of myself as I've kind of gotten here in my career, and when I started, it's momentum, is like you said.
Absolutely.
When I wasn't putting significant amount of money away, I really didn't think I had the ability to do it. But once you start doing it, particularly, and if it's something as easy as just putting it straight from your paycheck into another account so that it doesn't touch your hands.
Absolutely.
Something is because you don't miss it then. Mm-hmm. And then the next thing you know, 2 years from now, you're like, oh my goodness.
Absolutely.
I think some strategies like that are important.
Dollar cost averaging. So big thing for a young professional, any professional to remember is dollar cost average, which really creates the room of the compound effect, right? So that's how that college kid graduating at 22, putting away $10 a month, doing it every month with discipline, looks up at 65 and has $1 million because of dollar cost averaging. So it's all about starting small, starting now, and with momentum and seeing our account grow, we're going to be motivated to invest more, save more for the future.
And are you telling people what percentage of their income should be dedicated to certain things? For example, I know there's a school of thought that your housing should only take a certain percentage and entertainment should take another percentage. Are you kind of helping people through that?
I am. That's part of the fact finder, but it's all about your goals, right? So my job isn't to make sure you don't enjoy life to the fullest. I want you to enjoy life to the fullest, but I understand now is the better investment plan or savings plan you have, the better spending plan you can have in the future. Because the really good stuff is on the top shelf, right? So if you one day want to live on Davis Island or live in Abla like I do, it takes that discipline when you just came out of college,
right, or
when you finished your MBA to save and invest more.
No, you're absolutely right. Rather than like I did, sign up for credit cards because of a T-shirt.
Right.
Because you know, in college we make not so good decisions, and you end up paying for them for the next 5-6 years.
Absolutely.
Until you get out from under some of that stuff.
And I get a really good college story. Yeah. So going to college on a full basketball scholarship, you don't really have many expenses. But fortunate for me, I had another brother on a basketball scholarship at University of Tampa, another brother in college, so I qualified for the Pell Grant. So no expenses, Pell Grant money in my hand. Unlike most of my other buddies that bought Jordan's sneakers with it, I invested it with mutual funds. So graduating at 22, yet I didn't have a job, but I had $40,000 in mutual funds, which turned into my first property, which I bought at age 22.
How'd you have the discipline to do that in college?
You
already interned?
Yeah, I interned at UBS. I really didn't have a lot of discipline, but momentum, right? I had started I opened that mutual fund with $25 at UBS and slowly kept dripping money into it. And then Pell Grant came with $3,000, would dump in another $1,500. Then looked up at 22, had $35,000, $40,000 in my mutual fund.
That's the most impressive thing you've said, because in college, if you'd have gave me $3,000, let me tell you what $1,500
right.
A mutual fund. So that is extremely impressive, but it will set you up on the right path.
Absolutely.
You probably start out 5 years ahead of where.
And I had as much fun as everybody else.
No, that's a good idea. What are some other tips that you've given clients that you also abide by yourself? Because I know I'm sure you run your own household like you would want all your clients to run. What are some of the best tips that you?
I think the easiest thing is just earmark money for different opportunities or time periods of life, right? So if a client had $100, right, to keep it simple, I'd say, hey, let's put $20 in this opportunity account. Let's put $20 in this short-term brokerage account. Let's put $20 in this intermediate account. Let's put $20 in this long-term account. Let's put $20 in this, we'll call it, vacation account or real estate account. So literally slicing up that dollar. So any opportunity, we already have dollars earmarked for it. So whether it's real estate, vacation, emergencies, which they will happen, Murphy will knock on the door. The moment that emergency account goes to zero, Murphy then knocks.
This is so all this, we're familiar with it.
Right.
And so it sounds less complicated than it sounds to the regular person. There are some clients, I bet, that are super involved, that watch the stock market, give you instructions if something changes 2 points, and knows exactly what's going on. But I bet there's the other side of people who are like, Cedric, here are my goals. Tell me how to get there, and I'm just going to do whatever you say do, right?
Absolutely.
And that's kind of where you're anywhere in between.
Absolutely. So the first example was a client that's really watching accounts. A lot of times they are do-it-yourselfers. Right? That's how Home Depot was built. My best clients are financial delegators. Hey, Cedric, I got this much money left at the end of the month. These are my goals. Create a plan for me to get my goals.
Right. No, it's a lot like practicing law. You hired me to be your lawyer.
That's it.
Let me be the lawyer.
That's
if you want to be the lawyer on Google, then go do that. You shouldn't have called me.
Absolutely.
And so I know it's the same for you. And I want to talk about, too, how you got all these buckets, but one of the issues that got to me was I was not fully prepared for the tax bill at the end of the year as I got kind of older and moved up into certain, into job spaces. I wasn't aware that because listen, when we're young, we go to H&R Block.
Right.
You fill out your little tax return, and you like to get a refund.
Right.
And then the older you get, you realize if I'm getting a refund, that's a problem.
Right.
Like it's not the right thing. Do you give advice on all that good stuff? And how to prepare your taxes?
I think we don't know what we don't know. So when I talked about qualified accounts, that's a fancy term for a 401k or IRA or 403b. Uncle Sam gives us some benefits for investing in a qualified account, meaning, hey, if I make $1, right, and I put 50 cents in this qualified account or 401k, my taxable income is reduced by my investment.
It is a mindset to understand how much of a benefit that is.
Right.
Because everything you've talked about today requires sacrifice on the front end for you to get where you want to get on the back end. And
right.
So if I save more money and if I invest that money that I've saved into the right tax vehicles, I'm almost doubling the benefit to myself later on. But
Absolutely.
It requires me not spending as much right now.
Right.
I might want to.
Absolutely. And the things you're going to buy now, per se, likely going to be smaller things that aren't going to really give you the pleasure like you would have, right?
You're right.
So if you're disciplined today, 2-3 years from now, you can really reach for the top shelves, right? So one of my top shelf things are watches, right? So my discipline allowed me to buy a couple nice Rolexes.
Right.
But I was disciplined on those small things. Right. I ate out less.
Well, you were disciplined in college, like we
right.
talked about. Like I still can't. It blows my mind, man, because I'm thinking about myself. And I know everybody watching this is thinking about themselves. Like, I was not having no mutual fund in college, but that is why you're at where you're at. I know you've got some also things you're doing in the community. Talk a little bit about that while we get to the end here.
Yeah, so a bunch of those opportunities came because I was disciplined in college with investing in mutual funds and continued that discipline as I made more money, and it led to me going into the real estate space. So I have a development company and I have a construction company. And the construction company came about because I was struggling finding help or finding contractors to do the work. So you kind of build it yourself, per se. And now I have about 12 projects I'm working on. 6 of them are mine, that I own the building, and proud to be one of the few African Americans that own a building in downtown Tampa.
Oh, nice.
So right there at 603 Jackson Street. I also achieved one of my dreams was I bought one of the cigar factories in Ybor City. So
Which
another
one?
project. Tierra del Lago.
Okay.
So right there at 1908 North 36th Street. The building the cigar factory was built in 1908.
Wow.
So and along with I don't know if you remember Woody's Cafe.
Yeah.
So bought that and redeveloping that. So my goal is to pay it forward with taking these rundown buildings and rebuilding East Tampa with a new structure that the community can benefit from.
No, that is amazing. We got to get my law partner in here, Dale Swope, to hear about the old cigar factories. He's like a amateur historian of Ybor City stuff. Talk about maybe some other. What are you've got a lot of community things going on too. I know you're active in the community, not just where it comes to doing things like this, but you got any other things going on in the community? Yeah,
so I endowed a partial basketball scholarship at the University of South Florida. I also endowed a partial basketball scholarship at my alma mater, Florida Southern. I do a lot of mentoring. I do a lot of financial literacy speaking or leadership speaking literally around the country. Right. A lot of coaching of advisors around the country. My goal is just to be more valuable to my clients than they are to me. So if I'm more valuable to them than they are to me, it's a little tougher to fire me.
Well, you're right, but as long as you're making me money, I ain't going to fire you.
Right.
And I was going to ask you, how do you stay on top of all this stuff? Because I know financial advising, every time Congress changes something, it affects probably the advice you give to people. How do you stay on top of all this?
Part of my communication with young people or any professional is your ideal day. So my day starts at 4 a.m. and usually from 4 to 5:30, I'm reading and I'm studying. I'm staying on top of the latest topics. Because remember, I want to be knowledgeable in every aspect. Right. So my clients know whether it's a real estate question, a tax question, an investment question, a stock question, a Bitcoin question. Hey, I need to run it by Cedric first.
Right. Let me ask you about real estate, because everybody wants to get rich on real estate, but it is fraught with peril, right? What are the risks of someone wants to buy a house, rehab it, and then sell it for more? That is what everybody thinks they can do, and it's easy, but it's not. Right. And you can get tripped up pretty fast. Talk about, just real quick, some things to watch out for when you're trying to become the next real estate magnet.
Number one, 3 keys of real estate: location, location, location.
Do your research. Right. Just because something's cheap doesn't mean that you're going to sell it for more.
Absolutely.
Maybe it's cheap for a reason.
Absolutely. And remember Murphy, right?
Yeah. Right.
That's what a lot of people got in trouble in 2008. They didn't have a proper emergency fund.
Mm-hmm.
And when they flipped their home or they renovated, there wasn't a buyer waiting to buy it. So be prepared that if you can't sell it, hey, rent it. Right? If you rent it, you still own the property, as well as you can refinance and pull the cash out and do other things with it. So I think it's all about, one, how we talked about earlier, is have the buckets, your emergency fund, maybe a real estate fund, short-term, mid-term, long-term account. So as long as you have the discipline to have some nickels to just in case you fall. So I tell clients all the time, you fall on your back. If you can look up, you can get up. So just as long as you have buckets of emergency capital, you can get out. Or have sources that can help you. Have good credit where you can go to the bank to help you get out of that situation.
Now, Cedric, this is amazing. I love what I'm hearing, man. I want you to, as we wrap up, give your contact information to anyone who might want to reach out to you and hire you, to be quite honest, because you're an impressive guy. But how do people get in touch with you?
Easy. On Instagram at Showtime Construction. That's our Instagram there. You can also, I'll give you my email. It's cpowell45@hotmail.com. You can reach me via my construction cell, 813-600-9198. Construction-wise, there's no project too big or too small. You name it, we've done it. We're building a five unit townhome as we speak. We're building also a triplex as we speak. We building a modern building downtown with a rooftop.
Oh, nice.
So you name it, we can do it, and we can do it with excellence.
No, that's great, Cedric. Thanks for coming on, and I know that people have gotten some good knowledge from what you're saying, not only with the momentum, but the mindset and what it takes to save a little now to be able to do what you want to do top shelf next time. So, Cedric, thank you for joining us,
Thanks,
and we'll be back with the next segment. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, welcome to the second segment of Vanguards of Democracy, and we're here with a super special guest. This is not only an elected official in Orlando, but it's someone who is my very, 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 very close friend, and that's State Representative Kamia Brown. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Sean. How are you doing?
I'm good. It's good to see you. And just so everyone knows, Representative Brown represents the Orlando area in the Florida legislature. She got elected first in 2016, same time I did, and you know, we spent a lot of time together and did a lot of good things in the House, fought a lot of battles, and I miss her. Kamia is one of the things I actually miss about Tallahassee. I know I tell the audience that I'm glad I left somewhat, but I do miss spending time with you and fighting those battles. But I want to give the people a sense of who you are, and we talked a little bit off camera, but just give a little bit of your background. Where are you from? How you got to where you are? A certain person that you may have worked for in the past that's a friend of this show and law firm. Get into that a little bit.
Well, I am Camilla Brown. I am in the Florida House, as he mentioned. Got elected to the House in 2016. Born and raised in Orlando, so I am proud to represent, my hometown. But I got started in this legislative process through an internship. That was back in the 2001-2002 legislative session.
Wow.
And so I did an internship through Florida A&M University.
And you went to FAMU, right?
I did.
Okay,
I
tell
did.
the people.
Political science, public admin major, but had the opportunity to interview for a position in then State Representative, freshman Representative Arthenia Joyner's office.
Oh, there we go.
Yes. And, it was a way for me to get out of class.
Right.
And so I ended up applying for that position and had the opportunity to work with her for 2 years, 2 sessions. And it was just such a great and enrichment experience. And I learned so much about the process. Prior to that internship, I really didn't know about the legislature. I know I always wanted to go into law, but she gave me the experience to get the other side of law, actually crafting legislation and just the importance of, me as an African-American, as a young woman, as a young female, to be a part of that particular process. versus the other side, the after the fact fight. So, I have enjoyed my time. I ended up, becoming a legislative assistant and have worked all around the state. I've worked in Tallahassee, Jacksonville. I've worked in Broward County. I've worked in Miami-Dade County, and, had the opportunity to come to the Orlando area and actually run for office. And so I have enjoyed my time. This is my 6th session as a state representative, and we've been able to do some amazing things. But really
that's an amazing story, because we all know Senator Joyner is a demanding person to work with and be around, and if you consider her a mentor, you know what I'm saying, that she demands a lot of you. But what that does for you is it prepares you more than others. Yes. And I remember when I got elected, she sat my office staff down and kind of told them, this is how you fill out forms, this is how you get in office, this is what you do. And when I go up to Tallahassee, all my stuff is done, and my staff knows what's going on, and everybody else kind of wondering what's going on. It's because she is that kind of mentor,
yes,
and I can imagine what it must have been like working for her in the process.
Yes.
How much knowledge you must have gotten in a short amount of time.
Right. And that knowledge, the first piece of knowledge she gave me is just the importance of presentation. And in that presentation, the requirements or a pair of pearls.
You ain't gonna do this. You ain't gonna.
And I had to make sure I have my stockings. Now, don't tell her I brought the pearls today. Okay. But I don't have the stockings.
No, I don't have to tell her. She gonna see it, and you gonna have to answer the phone.
Well, I apologize in advance.
I can't believe you told the secrets.
They ran out of my size at CVS. So
I didn't think that we would get into the secrets, but those are two very important things. I'm a man, and I knew that.
Yes.
That those were two requirements that she had.
And that relationship with her over the years have been very important, has been very special.
Yes.
Because of just the respect that many people have of her. And what she has also made sure you do is to stay true to yourself, but also stay true to your community. Know why you are here in Tallahassee, and just the importance of the representation, but also having the opportunity to get things done. And so that's building those relationships. That's making sure, you're not up here for play. You have the receptions, you have, the parties, but just the importance of really taking this job serious, because there are millions and millions of Floridians that's really counting on your voice, but also you being effective. And so I've enjoyed
I can't think
that.
of a better mentor for someone trying to be in the Florida legislature than Arthenia Joyner.
Yeah.
I mean, if I
she
wanted to, I couldn't think
she is the GOAT.
Of a better one. And as everyone knows, she is a partner here at the Vanguard, Vanguard attorney. So when we have her on, I'm sure we will talk about you, and I'm not going to tell her about CVS and what you don't have. But we all run on certain issues, right? All of us are certain things that are very important to us. One of mine was, judges, just because of who my dad was. So I was always interested in the judiciary and judges and insurance. That was kind of my stuff. Right. What's important to you? I know education is one of the big ones. What are some of the big time issues that you actually ran on that were the driving force for you to run for the Florida legislature?
Well, more importantly, families. Education is a piece. And, I can just tell I can go just from my experience of growing up and the importance of education, but also the importance of family and the wholeness of family. What I have focused my time on in Tallahassee is healthcare. Mm-hmm. And so, there are many disparities and things that really affect minority communities, in particular, my district. I have a very diverse district. And so it was important to me to make sure folks knew in Tallahassee that, although they affect my district, these are some of the same problems we're having throughout the state. And so with just the focusing on health care and the importance of that, and in particular, expanding Medicaid, we've had the opportunity to really hone in each year on moving the needle on many of these health disparities. And again, treating wellness and not sickness, just the importance and how we do that. But also making sure many of our families have, again, the opportunity to live a prosperous life. And that begins, again, with mind, body, and soul. So
I'm going to ask you a question, and I know you prepped for this interview by reading your own bio, which I think is hilarious. But I'm going to ask you.
I have a 12-month-old at home, and so everything here is, and I'm over 40 now, so it's getting foggy.
Oh, you're getting in the midlife crisis caucus.
Yes.
What's the most emotional time of your experience in Tallahassee? Was there a time when you were in session or in committee that it was emotional? It was like, what can you remember during that time? Mine was Marjorie Stoneman Douglas, and when we had that kind of floor debate about it, and those kids were in the gallery. Literally kids that were cowering underneath their desks when their classmates were getting shot, and we were debating the bill in front of them. I felt immense pressure because of them watching, and I felt immense disappointment because of what we actually did. I thought it was wrong, but I'll never forget that as long as I am on this earth. That political, I mean, that's why you go there.
Yeah.
You don't go there for the stuff that we do 1,000 times and yes, no, but you go there for the hard things.
Right.
And I remember how hard that was and how much pressure I felt with those kids looking right at us. What do you have a time that?
Well, I cheated a little bit. So they're not only that time, but I recall even just the Terry Schiavo issue. At that time, I think I was working with.
Explain that. Some people might not know what you're talking about.
So with the Terry Schiavo issue, that dealt with a woman who was basically incapacitated, who was in the sort of the ending stages of her life. And it was just a family dispute as to whether or not.
She was in a coma.
Yes, she was in a coma.
Incapacitated in a coma.
Yes. And it was a family dispute of whether or not she gets unplugged.
The husband wanted to remove life support, and Jeb Bush at the time
stepped in,
literally sued to prevent the husband from being able to end her life, as she wanted.
Correct.
If she was ever in that position, she made it known that that's what she
right
wanted.
And it was the other side of, so her family, which is her parents, and that side was on one side of the issue, and then her husband basically was on the other. And so just really having to think about it. And at that time I was really young, so 19, 20?
Right.
And it was just such a difficult time because you had so many people engaged in both sides of that issue. And so there were constant calls, there were constant protests that were going on in the Capitol. When it has come to the issue of affirmative action, I was actually there when there was the sit-in years ago with Tony Hill, who was a then senator, and then Kendrick Meek. So there have been a lot of issues I've been able to
Those are two good Omega men. I just want to be clear.
Oh, here we go.
Anytime that we mention two Omega brothers, we're going to let it be known. But go ahead.
You told me this was the Vanguard of Democracy show.
By Omega Sean.
And not Omega Sci-Fi Reception.
You must not see this right here, but
sir,
go ahead. But those are two.
Yes.
Those are two very.
But.
Yeah, it crystallizes why you're there.
Yes, and I think it reminds us just the importance and the importance of us being there to really kind of weigh in on those issues. And as you mentioned, with our children, I recall even us being on the floor when all of that stuff was happening.
Yep, I do too.
I recall I was at my computer. This was Valentine's Day, I believe, but I was at my computer. We were on the session floor debating, and I'm like, oh my gosh, and we're running and racing for folks to know there's something going on.
Everybody was looking at their phones at the same time.
There's something going on in Broward. Well, and we're here within, a business session, and I believe Jared and who else was there? Who recently passed? Kristen Jacobs. Yes. And I recall us going to them, and they had ended up going off the floor to kind of figure out what was going on in their districts. But it was just such a disheartening time, and I don't think those memories or those moments will always be in my head.
It is some days I'd be up there and I'd be, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
And then some days I would leave and I would be immensely kind of honored to be sitting there and doing it.
Mm-hmm.
You go from these two.
You do.
Particularly as a Democrat in the
Yes,
minority, because you ain't
indeed.
getting nothing done usually. But to go from I have no effect, I'm just sitting here, and to wow, we're really making life and death decisions.
We are.
And it's an honor to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I believe that you are running for promotion here, are we?
I am. I have recently put my name in the hat for the Senate race, the state Senate race, District 11. We in Orlando.
That's the Orlando area.
Yes, we in Orlando are going through a lot of changes. It's sort of one of our current congressional members, Val Demings, has had the opportunity to run for Senate. And so she is running for the U.S. Senate seat against Marco Rubio, which opens up her congressional seat. And so the sitting Senator Randolph Bracey has chose to vacate his seat to now run for Congress. And so with those dominoes falling, I thought this would be the perfect opportunity for me to take that next step. You know, as I mentioned to you previously, you know, I've been in the House pretty much most of my life, you know, all of my adult life, definitely. But just in that time, in those 19, 20 years, I've really grown, matriculated through the process. I've gone from an intern to a staffer, then to a member. And in that time, I've been able to progress and be even more and more effective. I've built the relationships I need, have been able to do some amazing work in the House. And so it's a little bittersweet to leave, but I think it is time for me to move to that next level, especially with the opportunity. You know, we don't know if this opportunity will ever come again. And so, you know, I love what I do. I love representing my community. And I think I think the Senate needs a candidate like me.
All my friends are running for bigger jobs, which means I don't have a lot of money because I donate to particularly those that I am personally aware of their skill set, and I'm personally aware of how impressive they are, and you're one of those people. So
thank you.
Let me ask you this, Kamia, because politics is tough these days.
It is.
I find myself frustrated by politics these days and getting kind of sick of it, and really all I do is politics, and I immerse myself in it. Is there an opportunity to work across party lines to get good things done anymore here in Florida?
It's tough, but yes. And I'll just go specifically with an example. We as Democrats for years have been talking about expanding Medicaid. And each year there have been the other side. Those Republicans have stated, no. That's not what we want to do. But we actually had the opportunity to just take a little chunk, a little piece of that just within the maternal care space. Right. We were able to work together, which no one had ever seen before, but working with the speaker on the issue, specifically expanding Medicaid benefits to moms. At the time, the state only offered 6 weeks of postpartum health insurance. And so, you know, with the bill that passed last year, we were able to go from 6 weeks to 12 months. We have been able to do that, and it was just so good to see many of our colleagues who thought that couldn't be done, and bipartisanship on that particular issue actually, you know, played well in Tallahassee last year. So grateful for the speaker for definitely allowing that to happen and taking the lead on that particular issue. So it can happen. It's just you got to figure out. There's a give and take with many of these issues.
It's the legislative process.
Yeah, you can't have everything at one time. You can get a slice of the pizza, but you can't have the whole pie.
And I mean, the process of the sausage in Tallahassee is ugly, and people don't like it, but it is what the process is. And so you got to take victories when you can. Yeah. And other than that, what are you most proud of for your 6 years in the Florida House?
I will say that maternal health care bill definitely was my proudest moment. One in particular, because that's an issue when I came to the legislature, I kind of focused on. And so definitely proud of that. When it has come to, minority health, we've been able to add money for more programs and grant opportunities for people, for boots on the ground to really do some education and work within that space.
And what do you want to do in the Senate?
Well, I want to continue on in that healthcare space. I've kind of found my niche. Definitely, I think it's important with just the transformation of education. I think it's still, again, a need for a continuous voice over there. We know from our experience within the House, you get drawn out. Again, it's whatever leadership says. And so we just, again, speak and speak until we become discouraged. But over in the Senate, there is an opportunity for the opportunity to work collectively with folks across the aisle.
Because there's only 40 senators.
It's only 40. And so, every vote, every one of all 40 of those votes matter.
Right.
And so it's important. It's important for a candidate like me to be there, to really, I guess, like I said, do some good work, be effective, but also be a leader.
Right.
So I look forward to that.
Your community is lucky to have you, Kamia. I'm going to, as we wrap up, I want you to sign this very pretty picture of yourself that we have, and we have all the guests sign their
Seriously.
We have all the guests sign their stuff, and I'm so honored to have you
make me
here.
Feel famous.
And well, you are famous, and I'm so honored to be your friend and to have watched you even as I left, and we've done we're close, and we do a lot of things together, and of course I'm going to
very old picture.
Well, I don't know what to tell you. We can probably set you up with that.
Yes.
But I just want to tell.
I need a new glam squad.
I just want to tell the audience that Orlando's lucky to have Representative Brown, soon to be Senator Brown, over there, and we'll keep watching and hope that you continue to do well. So, thank you for being here. Thank you for the picture, and we appreciate you being on. See you later.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Vanguards of Democracy is brought to you by Vanguard Attorneys, a Florida personal injury law firm located in Ybor City that's been in practice for over 10 years. The Vanguard Attorneys team is led by myself, Senator Arthenia Joyner, Karina Perez-Illich, and Sylvia Brett. If you've been injured and want to make sure you get the best recovery possible, call Vanguard Attorneys. Naturally, you never pay a dime unless you win, but you can get that from any attorney. What makes Vanguard different is our intense commitment to getting you justice and getting it fast. If you've been in an accident, call us at Vanguard Attorneys, 813-471-4444. Call us for a free consultation. As always, you can listen live on WTMP 1150 AM in Hillsborough, 97.5 FM in Pinellas, live on WTMP, and also on AM 1150 WTMP.com on your computer, or you can download the app or the TuneIn app on your cell phone. Remember, this show is pre-recorded. It is on YouTube. Just search for Vanguards of Democracy. But because it's pre-recorded, that means I won't be able to take any questions from the studio. But don't worry, we will be in the studio very soon so that I can take questions from my listeners, and they can't wait to get there. Thank you.